My entitled daughter spent the family holiday acting like a brat and got us kicked out of the hotel we were staying at. So I threw her suitcase into a lake? Tiffany's 24 years old. She doesn't drive, doesn't cook, can't even figure out how to turn on an oven. Lives with us rent-free in our guest suite that's bigger than most apartments. Her mother gives her $1,500 every single week, and I've just been letting it happen for 3 years now. I know I'm part of the problem. We coddled her. When she was in middle school, she'd bully kids who wore regular clothes instead of designer brands. I tried to shut it down, but her mom defended her every time. Said I was being too harsh. That pattern never stopped. This year, for my 50th birthday, my wife suggested we take a family trip to the Bahamas. First time all three of us would travel together in years. Tiffany loved the idea at first. Started posting about it on Instagram before we even booked the flights. But the second we landed, everything changed. It was 85 degrees and sunny. Perfect weather. Tiffany took one look around the airport and said it was too hot for her furry Gucci jacket. She actually said she'd have to dress like the broke people in t-shirts and shorts. Her mom didn't even blink. Went straight to the hotel concierge and asked for the nearest luxury boutique. Came back 3 hours later with $800 worth of designer casual wear, matching sets, special resort sandals, the works. Day one was rough, but I figured she'd adjust. I was wrong. Day two, she slept until 2 p.m. We'd planned a morning snorkeling trip, just left without her. When she finally woke up, she called me 16 times screaming about how we abandoned her. Her mom apologized to her. Actually apologized for not waking her up. That night at dinner, she sent her pasta back 4 times. Not because anything was wrong with it. She just wanted to see if they'd keep remaking it. The waiter looked exhausted. I left him a $200 tip and apologized. Day 3 was my actual birthday. I'd made reservations at this incredible seafood restaurant on the water. Place had a 6-month waiting list, but I booked it a year ago. I was genuinely excited. Around 5 p.m., I knocked on Tiffany's door to remind her dinner was at 7. She opened it in her silk pajamas, phone in hand, and said she'd rather stay in the room than go to some lousy seafood place. Said it so casually, like she was turning down McDonald's. My wife tried to convince her, but Tiffany just shrugged and closed the door. I stood there for a solid minute trying to process what just happened. Then I told my wife we were going anyway. I wasn't going to let her ruin this. Dinner was beautiful. The sunset over the water. Fresh lobster. My wife actually put her phone down and we talked like we used to. For 2 hours, I forgot about everything else. We got back to the hotel around 10 p.m. There were 2 security guards standing outside our hallway. One of them was on his radio. The other one looked stressed. The second they saw us, they relaxed a little. Asked if we were the parents of the guest in room 412. That was Tiffany's room. Apparently, she'd been blasting music since 8 p.m. When the neighbors complained, she turned it up louder. When hotel staff knocked, she screamed through the door about how she was paying good money and could do whatever she wanted, which was insane because we were paying for everything. Then about 20 minutes before we got back, she'd thrown a glass lamp at the wall. It shattered. She called the front desk threatening to sue them for harassment. The manager came up personally. Very professional. Very apologetic, but firm. He said we needed to check out by 9 a.m. tomorrow. No exceptions. They'd already called other hotels in the area to help us relocate. Tiffany came out of her room then, still in those $300 silk pajamas. Hair perfect. Makeup perfect. She looked at all of us and actually smirked, like this whole thing was funny to her. Something inside me just snapped. I walked into her room, grabbed her main suitcase, the big designer one she'd spent $600 on specifically for this trip. It had all her favorite outfits, the new resort wear, her makeup bags, everything she'd been so proud to pack. She started yelling, asking what I was doing, but I didn't answer. Just walked straight through the lobby with that suitcase. My wife was calling after me. Tiffany was screaming. Hotel guests were staring. I went out the back exit. There's a dock behind the hotel that goes out over the water. Beautiful view. Peaceful. I walked to the very end of it. Then I threw that suitcase as hard as I could into the ocean. It made this perfect splash. I watched it sink. All those designer clothes, the makeup, the jewelry, everything. About $6,000 worth of stuff just disappearing into the dark water. Tiffany was screaming behind me. Her mom was screaming, but I just stood there watching it sink. When I finally turned around, Tiffany's face was red, tears running down her cheeks. Real ones this time, not the fake crying she does to manipulate her mother. I looked right at her and said, "You can swim for it or wear my old t-shirts on the flight home. Your choice." We checked out the next morning. Tiffany wore one of my plain gray shirts and her mom's spare shorts. Didn't say a word the entire